Welcome, guys. This is Glasgow Rangers Nation. I'm Owen James, and this is your Rangers news update, guys. It is Sunday, the 19th of October. We are here bringing it to you on I don't know. You know what? It was a 2-2 draw yesterday against Dundee United. A very encouraging first half performance from Rangers. Very good first half performance from Rangers. Positive, aggressive, good stuff. Obviously, could have gone in a hell of a lot better off with then the 1-0 lead. A terrific goal from Thelwell Asgard. Nice to see Thelwell Asgard get in the goals. Thought overall an encouraging performance from Asgard. But once again, it is a case of Rangers letting a lead slip. This is not the first time it has happened this season, and I've got a feeling unless something is sorted, it will not be the last time that this happens at all as well. Look, you know what? No blame on Stevie Smith at all from today's game. Obviously, he was in a very difficult position, in terms of coming in, obviously not getting a chance to work with players, and obviously knowing that he is not the main man. He is obviously not going to be the manager long term. So, at the end of the day, you've got to kind of just say he's doing what he can to get us through over the next couple of weeks, days, months. I don't know how long he is going to be in charge, but look, at the end of the day, the performance, was better first half. The second half performance was not good at all. I've got to say the defence was pretty diabolical. The two goals we conceded in the second half to Trapanovsky and to Sibold, both of those goals are entirely preventable. Yes, fantastic strikes, certainly, good goals, but well taken. And I'm not saying Dundee United didn't deserve the goals that they got. But what I am saying is that both those goals again represent what we already know. That this defence is pretty shocking. It is pretty bad. You look at the stats from the game. We had 20 shots, 8 on target. They had 10, 4 on target. Half the number of shots, half the number on target. Possession-wise, we dominated possession, outpassed them again. Our pass accuracy was good. So overall, like I said, the performance was not bad. It was not a disaster in the slightest. The Rangers team was Butland, obviously, Tavernier, Suter, Canedius, Magoma, Rothwell, Raskin, Antman, Asgard, Gassama, and Miovski. You've got to kind of say, those 11 that went out there, obviously, other than perhaps, Rothwell, given the fact, obviously, that Dio was out, obviously, we could have gone maybe with Connor Barron in there. But overall, a team that probably most of us would have selected if chosen from what we've got at the club at this present moment in time. I thought Jack Butland did well again in the game. I thought James Tavernier did very well, got us the goal as well. I thought Raskin was okay. I thought Thelwell Asgard played very well indeed. Actually put in a good performance after some very mixed performances for the club of late. But I thought there were some diabolical performances. There were some really poor performances out there today. Like I said, I thought the back four were exceptionally poor. Really, really poor indeed. Today, Magoma, Canedius, Suter all really struggled for me. I thought Gassama struggled. I thought Antman was fairly dire as well again today. So it wasn't, great performances by some players, certainly. Others pulled it out. Others did very, very well. Yusuf Chimiti came on second half. You know what? I've got to say, there needs to be some sort of investigation into that money. I mean, that guy cost £8.5 million. Please, somebody tell me how we paid £8.5 million for a player who does not look ready, does not look good, genuinely doesn't look good at all. Looks really poor. That's a lot of money on an absolute pretty poor footballer with very little talent. Look, I mean, I heard David Edgar on the Heart and Hand post-match say that Rangers were, in his words, a bin fire. There's a GIF you can find on most phones if you go onto it, and it's a dumpster on fire going down a raging river, out of control. I would say that very much sums up where Rangers are at the moment. We are a dumpster on fire going down a raging river, out of control at this moment in time. We dropped 2 points again today. Not good at all in terms of dropping points yet again. I think, to be honest with you, I don't think any of us kind of knew what to expect coming into and coming out of today. It's not the real manager. It's a temporary manager. It's someone who, is here for a short period, and that will be it. And obviously Stevie Smith's doing a difficult job under difficult circumstances. We're up to 6th, I suppose. It's a positive into the top 6, but you look at it now, we are, what? Celtic obviously didn't play today. They play tomorrow. If they win, they go to 20 points. They'll be 11 clear of us. And you look at the fact that Hearts are 13 points clear of us now. Even Hearts are going to take some catching. They've won 5 out of their last 5. Obviously, Celtic play Hearts next weekend. They won 3-0 at Killy, 3-0 at home to Killy today. They're a very, very good performance by all accounts. I didn't watch the game, but so away at Killy, 3-0. Celtic play Dundee away tomorrow. There's a little chance obviously that Celtic slip up there. We are slipping further and further behind. The big concern for me is that yes, we are a bin fire. Yes, we are a bin fire that cannot defend to save our lives, and we're a bin fire that look very fragile in terms of the fact that, the moment we get a setback, the morale just collapses. We kind of give way. There's no leadership from the top. I think there's a couple of things that we need to address there. Not only does the manager need to be a leader, someone with presence, someone who will come in and kick backsides, get things in line, which I think Muscat can do. I think we need a change of captaincy. I don't think James Tavernier is a captain. There's nobody on the field who really gets hold of people when we're in these situations. You look at the great captains of the past, the Terry Butchers, for example, the Barry Fergusons, for example. These guys were people who, when things started to turn against you, when things started to go wrong, would grab players by the scruff of the neck and pull them back into the game and get them sorted and get them a bit more focused on what they were supposed to be doing. Again, that's something that did not happen again today. James Tavernier is a very poor captain and probably one of the worst captains in our club's history. I'm not saying, that as a player he doesn't deserve the accolades that he does. Some great goals, a great goal today to keep it, to get us a point. Well done, James Tavernier. But as a captain, not up to it for me. The concerning thing going forward for me is that we are in a situation where we come off the back of yet another collapse, another disappointing performance, shall we say, another abjectly weak performance mentally and sort of, in terms of keeping that system, keeping that shape, keeping the way we're playing and dominating and going out there and playing with confidence, quite clearly fell apart second half. Now, I'm not saying anything about Stevie Smith on this one or Billy or obviously or any of the management staff at this moment in time. This is on, at the end of the day, the position we're in at this moment in time. This is solely on, obviously, Russell Martin. We can't go on blaming Russell Martin. The man has gone now. He's left the club. We have to leave him alone, let him get on with his life. This is on the people who make the decisions higher up this club. This is on the likes of Kevin Thelwell and the likes of Patrick Stewart. The fact that we've come out of an international break for 2 weeks, knowing that we were going to sack our manager, knowing, I think, in the lead up to that Falkirk game that he was pretty much dead man walking, that we didn't have someone in place and lined up to replace him. You look at other clubs around Britain. You look at clubs in England. You look at the progression there. Someone gets sacked within a day, 2 days, at the most a week. Someone is brought in to replace them. Yet at Rangers, we seem to make a pig's breakfast out of it all. All right, fanning on about it, and we're still faffing now. Yes, reportedly there is a deal in place with Muscat, but it is with Muscat, not with Shanghai Port. Apparently, compensation is still obviously ongoing in terms of negotiation. But what's worrying with the whole Muscat situation is he might not come until the 22nd of November. Now, obviously, I admire the guy's honesty, his loyalty, and the way he conducts himself. I admire that. But what worries me massively, guys, is the fact that as a club, where will we be by the 22nd of November? There are a number of games between the 22nd of between now and the 22nd of November. There are a number of upcoming matches for Rangers where, realistically, we could actually find ourselves in a position where, we could be out of the League Cup. We could be, in a position where we're going to really obviously struggle to progress in Europe, and where the league, in terms of the top, even the top two, is going to be an absolute battle to get to. We've got Bran on Thursday. It looks like Stevie Smith will be in charge for that one. We lose that or we don't win that. It's a big again after losing the opening 2 games. It's massive. Obviously, then at home to Killy, away to Hibs, and then the League Cup semi-final. Then you do go into November. Obviously, we then got the game against Braga on the 6th, Dundee away on the 9th, and then obviously the international break, and then it's Livy in the league. Now, let's say, for example, we don't have a new manager through Bran, Killy, Hibs, Celtic, Roma. That wasn't Braga, so Roma, who are going to be a massive test, and then Dundee away. We could find ourselves, like I said, out of the League Cup, unable to qualify for my Europa League group, and in a pretty dire position. And look, the club is in a pretty dire position. And like I said, this is on Thelwell and this is on Stewart. They're in inability to plan, their inability to pull people in. Thelwell and Stewart have proven themselves time and time again to be galactically, massively incompetent. And if Parag Marathe and Andrew Kavanagh cannot see that these two need to go as well and be replaced by people who actually know how to do their job, then I really do worry. I am concerned going forward. Rangers is a bin fire, an absolute bin fire. And Thelwell and Stewart are the people pouring the petrol on the flames of that bin fire. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts, where we're up to, where you're at with this. Obviously, drop me a comment. If you've enjoyed the content, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.